Hello and welcome to this Thursday edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson, helping you flip through the pages of today's show. We have the news, finance matters and more from our heritage tour. Stay with us.
Breast cancer affects millions of women and men each year. Yes, even males. As we celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we encourage you to screen for the disease. This includes self-examinations and mammograms. Remember, early detection saves lives.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, October 12, 2023. 727 doctors will be welcomed to the public health system following the approval of established posts within the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the regional health authorities. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton divulged details in Tuesday's sitting of Parliament.
This is in addition to the 140 additional posts that were granted in response to COVID-19. Madam Speaker, this is roughly, to put in context, a 60% increase in the number of physicians that can be employed within the health system.
Also, as of April 2023, all physicians in the public health system now hold established posts, abolishing contractual employment of doctors. This is part of a three-stage reform of human resources for health, which is expected to improve service delivery.
We're expanding services, especially in the peripheral hospitals. The Type C hospitals will all offer specialist services in general surgery, pediatrics, obstetrics and gynecology, internal medicine, emergency medicine, anesthetics and radiology in parish hospitals.
On Sunday, October 15, the ministry will begin advertising posts for the new jobs created for all hospitals and primary care centers within the public health system. This current phase will be rolled out over the next 2 to 3 years. In addition, 200 training posts will be made available. Plans for nurses, public health inspectors, and other professions supplementary to medicine are being finalized. Millions of US dollars in export deals and contracts have been secured by local businesses that participated in the last 7 business missions of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The business missions were executed in North America, Europe, and the Caribbean region to drive increased exports in goods and services from Jamaica. During his recent presentation for the State of the Nation debate in the Senate, Minister Aubin Hill disclosed that 97 companies and 133 business executives participated in the trade missions, which secured tens of millions of US dollars worth of contracts, with others still being negotiated. The companies range from very new, even ones unlisted on the local stock exchange, to medium-sized and well-established businesses in manufacturing, contracting, trading, and ICT.
We have 16 ICT people. I didn't know we had 16 ICT companies in this country. When I started, 6 went with me to Ghana. They went with me to Canada. They have business. They're getting business in Trinidad, in Guyana, in the United States. They went with me to Britain.
Entertainers, athletes, and persons who ply their trade in the cultural sector will soon be able to apply for a circulation visa to travel to European countries. This is a multi-entry visa that lasts for 5 years and will be a better option for regular travelers than the Schengen visa that's valid for 30 days. The preliminary information is among several matters that were discussed at the 7th Jamaica European Union Political Dialogue on Monday. State Minister for Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Alanda Terrelong, gave the update while speaking at the launch of Jamaica Digital this week.
Certainly there are some requirements to be able to be eligible for that visa, and of course it involves traveling to the EU maybe once or twice previously. It might cost a little bit more than the ordinary visa that gives you a single entry that might last 30 days or so forth, but certainly that is good news for all our cultural practitioners and our athletes to note that in applying for your Schengen visa to enter the European Union, you can now apply for a circulation visa, which is a multi-entry visa that can last 5 years.
Minister Terrelong says that among other areas discussed for continued partnership with the EU are digitization, health, youth, education, citizenship, justice, and crime fighting. Jamaica and the EU have enjoyed 40 years of bilateral cooperation, which has benefited Jamaicans in many sectors. The Ministry of National Security is advocating for better ways to deal with persons with mental health issues who have committed criminal offenses. The view was shared by State Minister Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn as she addressed the Paint for Mental Health workshop on Tuesday. The event was in recognition of World Mental Health Day. Minister Cuthbert-Flynn emphasizes that individuals who struggle with undiagnosed mental issues require specialized institutions to receive assistance, treatment, and guidance concerning the status of their mental health. She argues that usually once an offense is committed, they become subjected to jungle justice from residents, leading to even innocent persons suffering from mental health challenges being accused, beaten, and killed at times.
This is a very troubling phenomenon in Jamaica, where individuals who are suffering from mental illness may commit offenses and then they're subjected to vigilante justice rather than receiving the appropriate legal intervention. The consequence of such action can be very devastating for everyone involved, including the individual with the mental illness, their families, and also our society.
Turning to the mental health of students, she says similar issues are being played out at schools with bullying and outbreaks of group fights.
It is imperative then for us as a society to recognize this issue and to take a collective action in creating a supportive environment both at school and at home that can make a difference.
And finally, the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, is on a drive to educate citizens about electronic or e-waste and how to properly dispose of it. E-waste refers to any equipment with plugs, cords, and electronic components that are at the end of their useful life. These include mobile phones, personal computers, peripherals such as printers and keyboards, televisions, and associated cabling. Director of Operations at the NSWMA, Aretha McFarlane, says there is a noticeable increase in the amount of e-waste being generated due to the advancements in technology, and as such, citizens need to know how to properly dispose of them. She was speaking at a JIS think tank last week.
E-waste contains dangerous chemicals such as lead, mercury, and other things. When these are deposited on our disposal sites, the potential for fire increases exponentially, and as such, we have to ensure that we dispose of our e-waste properly as a citizens.
Ms. McFarlane says persons may dispose of their e-waste at the NSWMA head office located at 61 Halfway Tree Road in Kingston or any of its regional offices island-wide. These are located at 232 Spanish Town Road in Kingston, Unit 1A, LOJ Commercial Center in Montego Bay, Unit 4A, Mandeville Plaza, Manchester, and 2 Stormont Road, New Buckfield, Ocho St. Anne. Ms. McFarlane further indicates that persons may contact the NSWMA via WhatsApp at 876-448-3220 to make the necessary arrangements for collection.
We also facilitate collections from companies and businesses with large amounts of e-waste to be disposed of. You may contact our offices for such facilities to be available to you.
Meanwhile, the NSWMA will join the world in observing International E-Waste Day on October 14 under the local theme, Make Haste and Recycle Your E-Waste. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. Mosquitoes will breed in any container that holds water.
Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, barrels, buckets and tanks. If this cannot be done, pour cooking oil on the water surface. Punch holes in all tins, plastics and beverage boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover all tires or fill with dirt to prevent water collection. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs. Use mosquito repellents to protect yourself from mosquito bites. Dispose of garbage properly by placing in plastic bags and securing properly to prevent water collection.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Counterfeit goods have been circulating in our industries for many years. Let's look at how it affects the Jamaican economy in this episode of Finance Matters.
The Revenue Protection Department was established primarily to address what was perceived to be rampant fraud and corruption at the Jamaica Customs Agency. The Commissioner of Revenue Protection shall be responsible for the general administration of the Revenue Protection Department and shall have such functions relating to revenue protection as may be assigned to him by the Revenue Administration Act. Did you know your money could be funding criminal enterprises and activities? Hi, I'm Shaquille Rochester Shorter and welcome to Finance Matters. Joining us today is the Commissioner of the Revenue Protection Department, Mr. Cranston Morgan. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and now TikTok to see all the episodes and highlights. Mr. Morgan, thank you for joining us on our program today. But before we dive into things, I want you to tell us about the role and function of the Revenue Protection Department.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here. The role and functions of the Revenue Protection Department are set out in Section 6 of the Revenue Administration Act. There are three main things: to lead investigations into fraud and corruption against the revenue, to assist other departments, revenue departments, in doing these investigations, and assist in implementing programs that will deter or detect fraud or corruption.
So, Mr. Morgan, I hear you talking about investigating, assisting, deterring people from doing fraudulent activities.
Right.
But tell us, what is the RPD doing really, like a real-life scenario, to protect the country's revenue?
Okay, so we take a multifaceted approach to protecting the revenue.
Okay.
There are many things that we are involved in, and I'll go through a few. There's education, where we go to the revenue agencies and we make presentations on ethics, on the work of the RPD, and how, as frontline employees, they can be protectors of the revenue themselves.
So, like you go to customs?
Yes,
Where
mostly tax administration.
Okay,
as of late. We've been to other entities as well.
Okay.
For example, the Ministry of National Security. So that's education. We do vetting or background checks for prospective or current employees of the revenue services and other entities. For example, Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission, we've done for them. We've done for Students' Loan Bureau. We do it for the Accountant General's Department and the Ministry of Finance itself.
Okay, so that's how you're protecting. Those are some of the measures.
Yes, there are other ways, but yes, those are.
That you're protecting the country's revenue. Yeah. Tell us about a major bust that you've experienced in your time as a commissioner.
Not whilst I was commissioner, but whilst I was at the RPD.
Okay.
And this one sticks with me because of the impact that it had. The one I want to speak about is a fraud that took place at the Accountant General's Department, where an employee resurrected the accounts of dead pensioners, and well, some of the pensioners weren't dead, but their accounts were inactive.
Okay.
And he resurrected it and had monies, their pension funds, sent to accounts that he had control over. When we discovered this fraud, it was to the tune of in excess of $20 million. And the reason why that one resonates with me is because of the victims, how vulnerable those, the ones that were still alive, obviously, how vulnerable they were, and that someone would actually do this. So that one really sticks with me.
Wow, that's interesting. So Mr. Morgan, I've seen recently in the news where there has been a clampdown on counterfeit goods. So what role does the RPD play in the detection and deterrence of this activity?
Okay, so first thing, the RPD officers are empowered under the Customs Act. They have the powers of constables, so they would have the powers of arrest and so on. And they are in fact customs officers for the purposes of detection. The RPD, along with Jamaica Customs, does joint inspections at the ports to examine cargo where we detect that cargo may be in breach of the Trade Act, where there are counterfeit goods or any other breach of customs. Those goods are detained or seized. Further to that, where we realize that there are persons who are involved in the regular importation of these items, we will partner with our other partners, CTOC or MOCA, to do post-clearance
So that's
operations.
when it gets to the store.
That's when it gets to the store.
All right, but how does it get to the store?
Not all shipments can be inspected. There are limited resources, so not all shipments are inspected. But however, when they do get to the store and they're detected, they're found in the marketplace, we take action. As I said, not just us, but our partners as well. There's CTOC that has a unit that will help with the enforcement of this.
So when you seize those items, where do they go?
Well, ultimately, the decision as to how they are disposed of is for the courts. When they are found to be, by the courts, to be in breach of the Trade Act, etc., they are generally destroyed.
Before we go, Mr. Morgan, I want you to tell us 3 things that we should remember or know about the RPD.
Well, 3 things. Okay. So the RPD has 3 locations. A location in Kingston, a location in Mandeville, and a location in Montego Bay. The second thing is that we may be contacted at rpdinfo@mof.gov.jm. And the third thing, and I left this one for last because I want it to stick.
Okay.
We are still here. We're very passionate about what we do. I know that I've heard persons saying that, oh, we were subsumed into another entity and so on. I want to dispel that. No, we are here. We're open. We're passionate about what we do.
Well, thank you, Mr. Morgan, for being on our program today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of Finance Matters. Remember to follow us on social media at MOF Jamaica and tune in next week as we continue to demystify the economic and fiscal policies and initiatives implemented by the government to empower Jamaicans as we chart a path to Jamaica's economic prosperity.
It's time again for the JIS Heritage Essay Competition. Are you a primary school student? Write a 400 to 500 word essay responding to the question, should Jamaica remain under the British monarchy or become a full republic? And win lots of prizes. Visit jis.gov.jm for competition guidelines. Registration opens October 1 and closes October 31. The JIS Heritage Essay Competition 2023. Enter today.
Domestic Violence Awareness Month is observed in October, and it is important to remember that both men and women are vulnerable to abuse. Let's look at how the government seeks to strengthen the fight against domestic violence.
There are countless victims of domestic violence across Jamaica. Some sadly will not make it out alive. Domestic violence or intimate partner violence has maimed and claimed too many lives. Neither men nor women are spared. but government is taking steps to cripple its immobilizing and far-reaching grip on our society.
Cabinet has given its approval for the amendments to the Domestic Violence Act, which will serve to strengthen the law.
According to the United Nations, domestic violence is a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. It is any physical, sexual, emotional, economic, or psychological action or threat of actions that influence another person. One of the amendments to be made to the Domestic Violence Act is the inclusion of a comprehensive definition of the term.
The definition will make clear that domestic violence is not only physical, but also psychological, emotional, and sexual, and may occur in situations where intimate images are exposed to inflict harm on a person, among other situations.
Another legislative change will be the expansion of the category of people who will be allowed to apply for protection orders on behalf of an abused person. Government will also expand the conduct or behaviors that the court may prohibit the respondent from engaging in under a protection order.
This will include a prohibition on taking possession of or damaging a property that the victim may have an interest in, as well as directing the perpetrator to pay compensation for monetary loss incurred by the victim as a direct result of conduct that amounted to domestic violence, and also directing the perpetrator to relinquish firearm license, firearm, or other weapon to the police, and other orders that the court may deem appropriate.
Another modification will be the widening of the threshold to be met in obtaining protection orders from the court. This is to give greater protection to those who need the orders to keep abusers away. And additionally, government will be increasing the penalty for breach of a protection order.
The current penalty is $10,000. We want to see the penalty move to $1 million or imprisonment for at least 1 year.
Though these amendments will go a far way in strengthening the law, perpetrators cannot and will not be punished unless persons speak up and speak out against domestic abuse. If you or someone you know is in a violent relationship, reach out to the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport for help immediately.
They can call 876-553-0372. We will get to you and we will ensure that you get to a safe place. We have the call lines for the men and we have lines for the women. Feel free to call us. We are here to help you. That is a commitment of this government.
Jamaicans consume on average 9 to 12 grams of sodium or salt per day, twice the World Health Organization recommended amount of less than 5 grams or 1 teaspoon of salt, and more ideally, less than 2 grams of sodium per adult per day from all food sources. This excess salt in the diet causes high blood pressure, kidney and bone damage, gastric cancer, obesity, and worsening of asthma. Reduce the amount of salt you consume to no more than 3 to 5 grams, or half to 1 teaspoon per day for adults, and less than 2 grams for children under 11 years of age. Let's shake the salt habit and live healthy. A public service message from the Jamaica Information Service.
We now head to the cool parish of Manchester, where Team JIS is keeping the Heritage Month vibrancy alive. On this leg of the tour, we visit Mandeville Primary and Junior High, as well as Manchester High and Porus High. Here are the highlights.
asked earlier if anybody knows Jamaica Information Service, and you wowed me with your response. Yes, you're familiar with the brand. You've seen us on TV before, and you'll be looking for us on YouTube. You can also look for us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, wherever else you are on. Facebook, we're there as well, under the name Jamaica Information Service. Is there any specific thing that Jamaican families love? Wait, I didn't finish the question.
My name is Jayshawn Hubstead.
All right, Jayshawn, what's your answer to the question?
Soup.
Okay. Imagine Elephant Man telling you, walk with the bongs. All right, go forward, walk with the bongs, walk with the bongs. All right. Which Jamaican athlete was born in the parish of Manchester and won Jamaica its very first gold medal at the Olympic Games?
Arthur Wink.
Shout it loud, loud, loud.
Arthur Wink.
That's correct.
We've come to the final page of our magazine, but be sure to join tomorrow, same time, same place, for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. To keep up with all our happenings, just visit our website, gis.gov.jm. From the production team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.